Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and who rule well. And peace and blessings with sincerity to the hopeful elect. May salvation be in your futures. Lord's willing, this lesson be edifying. So I'm going to read a little bit of this article, which is entitled U.S. Air Force Unveils New Stealth Bomber Amid Arms Race with China. Now, before I dive into this article, I'm going to grab a quick precept. This is Exodus chapter 15 and verse 3, and it reads, "The Lord Yahweh is a man of war, and Yahweh is his name." Okay? Now, the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, all right, is a God of war, is a power of war. All right. He enjoys the battle. He enjoys, war, bloodshed. Okay. Seeing the outcome. Okay. Good triumphing over evil. And the Lord is setting up the ultimate end game. A war like no other. Okay. And the Lord has allowed Esau, Edom, okay, these Edomites, all right, the biblical nationality of the so-called white man, all right, to perfect his sword, all right, to perfect his military capabilities, to perfect his nuclear capabilities, all the technology and tools that these devils have created for warfare. All right. The Lord has allowed them to perfect it. All right. And why is that? Because the Lord is a power of war. He wants a good fight. He has given these devils technology to the point where they truly believe that they can win in a head-to-head battle against the Lord and his angels. Okay, once he comes back to take dominion of the earth and to free his people from their captivity. Okay, to free his people. And I'm speaking of the 12 tribes of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, so enough of me rambling on. Let's get into this article, all right? Because I want to bring out some precepts on the return or the coming of our Lord and how he's going to wreak havoc on the kings of this earth and this world. All right. So once again, it reads, U.S. Air Force unveils new stealth bomber amid arms race with China. It says the B-21 Raider, which is not set to fly until 2023. And real quick, man, I can't wait to see what Apostle Tahar is going to coin 2023, the year 2023, because this damn sure is the year of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai turning up, okay, 2022, all right? He titled 2022 on the dime, so I can't wait to see what 2023 is. So Salakia, the B-21 Raider, which is not set to fly until 2023, is the first new American bomber aircraft in more than 30 years. America's newest nuclear capable stealth bomber made its debut after years of secret development and as part of the Pentagon's answering to rising concerns over a future conflict with China. The B-21 Raider is the first new American bomber aircraft in more than 30 years. Almost every aspect of the program is classified. The public got its first glimpse of the raider in a tightly controlled ceremony at the U.S. Air Force's Plant 42 in Palmdale, California on Friday. Okay. And we're going to read a little bit more right here. It says, this isn't just another airplane, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said. It's the embodiment of America's determination to defend the republic that we all love. All right. So to defend the republic, that they all love. Right. So when I was reading this article, all I could think of was Second Esdras, the 13th chapter, right, which goes into how the Lord is going to, judge these nations and just wreak havoc and show you why he's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So let's just dive into it real quick, all right? And it made me think of Revelation, the 19th chapter. But we're going to start in Second Esdras, the 13th chapter. All right, we'll go back and forth. This is Second Esdras chapter 13 from the top. And it came to pass, after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. All right. And who is this man? Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. All right. Yahweh Shah, who you people ignorantly call Jesus Christ. All right. Continuing on, it says, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heavens. All right. And the thousands of heavens are the angels. Okay. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. All right. Because the day of the Lord is darkness, not light. Woe unto you who desire the day of the Lord, man. Thinking the day of the Lord is going to be rainbows and lollipops and just singing and happiness, man. It's going to be a terrifying, heart attack having, trembling event, man. Okay. Witnessing true, unapologetic power that's coming to do a job. Okay. A power that has no respect of persons. Your money, nothing that you have can allow you to escape from the judgment that you have reaped upon yourselves. Okay. So it says, and matter of fact, let me read 3 again. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Okay. Now let's back these things up also with Revelation chapter 19, and we're going to start at 11. And it reads, and the blue letter titled this, the coming of Christ, the coming of Hamashiach. It says, Revelations 19:11, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. All right. Now, who is this sitting on this white horse? Okay. Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, who you people ignorantly call Jesus Christ. All right. And this horse, okay, just represents the power of his chariots. Okay. The chariots are what you people ignorantly call UFOs or UAPs. Okay. Unidentified aerial phenomenons or unidentified flying objects. Okay. And, the slaves used to sing about them. Okay. You people heard of the song Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Okay. This is what they sung of. All right. So the Lord is going to return in a so-called UFO. All right. A chariot. He has given Esau, Edom the power or the technology to to invent these stealth bombers and these different fighter jets and these nukes and these lasers and all these type of things. All right, the Lord is coming back with technology beyond anything that we have ever could have imagined. Okay, so it says, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. Right. So the Lord is coming to make war with the nations. It says, because these nations are not going to just give up their kingdoms, easily, all willy nilly. Like, here, you can have it. No, China, the kings of the earth, China, Russia, America, all these nations are going to make war with the Lord. Continuing on, his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. Right, because he's gonna conquer. He's gonna conquer everything, man. He's a Lord of Lords and King of Kings. All right. It says, and he had a name written that no man knew but himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of Power. And when the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, Salakia, let me read that again. And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Right. The angels are going to be in the chariots also. Okay. The vehicles of the angels. All right. The sky is going to be filled with them. Okay. It's going to truly be the day that the earth stood still. Okay. Because everyone is going to be looking up. Okay. And it says, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of the almighty power. Right. All right. And this sharp sword is lasers, man. Concentrated heat. Okay. So in the midst, and all of this is going to take place in the midst of the Third World War, man. The Lord is going to come back, and he is going to be, he's going to be zapping people. You've seen the movie War of the Worlds. Okay. Plain and simple. And it says, and he hath on his vesture and on his thigh the name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Okay. All right. Now let's go back to Second Esdras, the 13th chapter. Okay. So this should be painting a picture. So back in Second Esdras, the 13th chapter, and we're going to start back up at 3. It says, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire. Okay. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. Right. Because like I said, the Lord is going to return in the midst of the Third World War. The Third World War. All these nations are going to be fighting one another. But then when the Lord returns, they're gonna all decide to join sides to fight against the Lord, even though they're going to be scared out of their minds. Okay. So it says, and like I told you, the chariots use concentrated heat, man. straight lasers. All right. And it's going to get more in depth into it. So it says, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all right, speaking of, the lasers from the chariots, all they burn that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire. And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. Right. That great mountain is the fathership that Yahushua is going to be in. Okay. It's gonna block out the sun, man. All right. You seen that scene from Independence Day, man, when that UFO came out of that cloud of fiery smoke. Esdras is seeing this fathership, and he's saying it looks like a mountain. He's like, man, is that a mountain? But it says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. Right. Because if it was a mountain, he would have seen where it broke off. All right. But he's basically saying, like, I couldn't see where it ended. It was so huge, he couldn't see where, beginning to the end. It was massive. All right. It says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fright. Right. They're going to be afraid. Could you imagine being in the middle of a war and then seeing fucking this giant fathership and all these quote unquote UFOs, what you people call them, like something out of a movie? They're gonna be afraid, but the Lord is gonna put the spirit on them to fight. All right. So it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, man. This is Esdras doing his best to explain to you things that he's seeing, using the knowledge that he has of that time. All right. These things didn't exist when Esdras was alive. So he's giving you the best interpretation of the situation. So he sees the Lord, just this massive laser beam just come out of this chariot and just destroy these people, man. It says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Right, man. Like I said, that movie War of the Worlds, man, I believe with Tom Cruise. The majority of these movies depict the things that the prophets saw in the scriptures. All right. And when you know these things, when you know the scriptures, you see that none of these, a lot of these movies, none of them are original. They're biting the scriptures. Okay. So at the end of the day, man, these Edomites, man, they can do whatever they got to do, okay, to improve their military, their army, their weaponry, okay. but it's going to be to no avail. All right. The Lord, Yahweh Shai, are going to prevail in the end. Okay. And it's going to be a beautiful day for the elect. And if you're not a part of the elect or you're a heathen, it's going to be terrifying for you. Okay. It's going to be terrifying. Hey, matter of fact, there's a scripture that says, hey, the hopeful elect are going to be a little shook too once they see the power of the Lord. So, hey, but these are the times that we're living in, man. Our salvation is nearer than even we believe. All right. So, Lord's willing, this was edifying. Shalom, Israel.